It does appear to be quiet now in the area around Kabul. It may be that there was just going to be one attack, one wave of attacks, and not a second one is scheduled. Let's see if we can pick up something on all of that from NBC's Jim Miklaszewski at the Pentagon. Jim.
Tom, things may be quiet for now, but it's definitely not over. We're told that airstrikes will continue throughout the day today, our time, and at least for several more hours, to be followed at the end of the day by the first of what should be many food drops to the Afghan refugees. To confirm what Don had said a minute ago, in fact, yes, U.S. and British special forces, we're told, have been in the region for some time to provide reconnaissance, surveillance. We're told also that in regard to the forces up in Uzbekistan, the former Soviet Republic perched there strategically just north of Afghanistan, that there are some special forces there. And the 1,000 troops from the 10th Mountain Army Division are not some kind of invasion force there, but are there to provide force protection for U.S. military planes, helicopters, and forces there. Interestingly, just a couple of days ago, Secretary Rumsfeld was there in Uzbekistan, and in an extraordinary press conference there with the President Islam Karimov, he announced a number of things that Uzbekistan would do to help the U.S. military. He said at the time that, he said, we're not quite ready yet to allow offensive strikes to be launched from Uzbekistan territory, but U.S. officials are confident that Karimov will allow that to happen if and so when the United States needs to do that. But in terms of any ground invasion by U.S. troops, that's highly unlikely, Tom, very difficult to do. The borders along Uzbekistan and Afghanistan are heavily mined on both sides. If and when special forces actually go on the ground to pursue these terrorist cells and Osama bin Laden, and to be backed up by some ground troops, perhaps the 82nd Airborne was in early planning, those troops would most likely be dropped in once the ground is sufficiently softened and safe enough for some kind of airdrop into that area. Tom?
All right. Thank you very much, NBC's Jim Masada, giving us a heads up that more airstrikes are expected during our time. It's now nighttime in Afghanistan, and that will be followed by the first drops of emergency food, medicine, and other supplies for the people in Afghanistan, many of whom are in a semi-famine condition. These are not necessarily the Taliban. These are other tribal members who have been living there for a long, long time and are caught now in the winds of war with nothing to eat and no, as we say, medicine supplies. To give you